to congratulate you. Just to kind of break the ice, your film has been chosen for a screening. I don't think I've ever met anyone um, that was more of an inspiration than you are. And over the years, I've kind of watched you do so many amazing things, and dedication, your dedication is extraordinary. Now, what will folks say about you if they were a fly on the wall?
I'm passionate.
Right. Okay.
Just,
Okay.
I really am passionate
hmm
about people, about being creative, about
Right.
authenticity,
Mm.
honesty, and I don't know, I'm really passionate. I think that's what people.
Wow. That is how you would combine, and the process with all the things that are going on or coming into your life with such attitude, the great attitude that you have. For some, that's challenging, So, and to give that connection and leave an impression on people, you have an incredible speaking voice as well. You've done so many things. Our kids went to the same school. So you jumped right in and tell us about that. Tell us about something that makes you happy. I know what I see, but what makes you happy?
Right. I think community has always made me happy. Seeing
Right.
harmony, people
Yes.
coming together, and authentically, coming together and really, um, I don't know, enjoying what we get from being in each other's space. Something that may have sounded Pollyannish, a year and a half ago, but with COVID now, I think we do appreciate how much joy we get from being around other people and affirmed about other people and even affirming other people. That's made me happy. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
And seeing it, especially in environments where there are young people, especially young people, children of different backgrounds, seeing them influenced by that kind of harmony makes me happy. I think the things that I create, even though sometimes, like catharsis um, is made to be sort of disruptive.
Yeah.
It's the idea to disrupt the status quo that creates this discord amongst us. You know what I mean? This idea that we can accept the hurt and harm that racist structures have created for other people. The fact that that can be accepted, we need to disrupt that, and in disrupting that and causing that discord there, we can hopefully be more harmonious.
So tell us about the film.
Well, the film is about a Black mother who confronts an ambitious district attorney who refuses to prosecute the NYPD officer responsible for her son's murder. It's a confrontation that really is made to, I guess, sort of force people out of their own comfort zones and to really sort of be confronted with that sort of fear and powerlessness. The powerlessness that's felt there. Others watching that, when you see it, hopefully it's something about that sparks something in you that's different than you felt maybe from watching, was it The Green Book or other films that, also want to work to create harmony, but maybe not in a way that forces you to change. I don't know if that makes sense.
Wow, that does make sense. That does make sense because a lot of people are doubting their self-worth and their inner, being. Before even watching that film, I was like, I wonder what this is going to be about. I mean, you were born and raised in Brooklyn, correct?
Yeah, primarily, a little bit in Virginia, but yeah.
So you pretty much, the temperature, you know what's going on,
Yeah,
and you feel the vibe, So what is the difference for you? What is the difference between a hard worker, a go-getter, and a hustler?
Is someone who doesn't have a problem with like literally doing work, right, to achieve a goal. And it's definitely nobility in this.
Yeah.
I know hard workers I appreciate hard workers. I wish I was maybe a little harder of a worker sometimes.
Right.
Uh,
After
um,
we make that decision, we have to
right,
get up in the morning and go to a 9 to 5, and so
right,
yeah, I can see it.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, exactly. Um, Now, the go-getter, I think, is someone who is, um, they feel motivated
Mm-hmm.
to move along a system,
Right.
um, kind of usually through prescribed channels, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're a go-getter. You're willing to,
Right.
take the lead on things.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the go-getter usually, in my mind, is sort of, I would describe it because I'm not that person that's constrained by a system.
Right.
Where I
Mm-hmm.
feel like the hustler is um, the person who is the go-getter, who's willing to buck the system, to go around the system,
That's
um,
right.
to achieve the goal. Yeah,
Wow. So you do you believe in fate?
I do.
You
I
do.
do. I don't know fate, destiny.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
I think that there are a lot of things that are fate. I think destiny
Mm-hmm.
is the fate
Wow.
that
Mm-hmm.
awaits you when you are
Right.
invested,
Mm-hmm.
actively engaged in a
Mm-hmm.
course of
Mm-hmm.
action, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Wow.
I
So
think,
at a specific time,
mhm,
a
right,
specific person in their lives, that
hmm,
is meant for them
yes, I believe,
specifically. Okay.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You define it
Wow.
so much better than me.
Well, you know what? It's ironic because I used to believe I've been saved so many times in my life. Like I literally feel a hand pushing me along sometimes, away or to something,
Hmm.
So I can feel it. I can feel the air. I can feel it because I'm in touch with my ancestors and different things that are going on in my mind. And this is the time. Like you need to behave a certain way
Right,
because it's about to happen. What my spirit is saying because
right,
of the way I was brought up.
right,
As far as
right,
the ancestors and ashe, those are the things that I believe.
right.
So in my mind, I know that if it's meant for me, I will feel it. About your family, tell us about how supportive they are and the reason that you started this. Why?
Yeah, for me, to always think about family is going to start with my wife, right? So, like most people, especially a lot of Black folk, you are directed into a course of
That's
employment
right.
for
Hmm.
security, right? To
Hmm.
have the ability to go to college means that you should come out with a job, right?
Right. Hmm.
And if you're going to spend X, Y, and Z amount of money on
Hmm.
college, let alone go and get a graduate degree, you should
Yeah.
be making X, Y, Z.
Hmm.
I
Yep.
took a different course. Actually, all the courses I took were things that weren't going to make me money, like political science, right?
Wow.
So, and then film,
Right.
right? So in meeting, my wife, uh, when we were dating, she was
Hmm.
invested in this dream that I had. We met, I was in film
Wow.
school, right? So
Hmm.
she was invested in that dream.
Hmm. Hmm.
And, uh, as part of me being ready to marry, I knew that I
Hmm.
would need to marry somebody who
Right.
was equally invested in this dream. Otherwise, I would resent somebody who wasn't, right? And it's not easy
Hmm. Hmm.
at times to be married to a dreamer, to be married to a hustler, because hustlers have long desert periods, wilderness periods, right?
Mm.
Where
Wow.
we're certainly finding whether it's financial wilderness or mental wilderness, spiritual wilderness. We have these moments where it's just like you're depleted in some way,
Right.
and it, you know, to have the support of a spouse, firstly, in my case, is huge, but that matriculates down to the kids.
Right.
And I think my kids pick up on the fact that what I do is valued,
Yeah.
right, by my
Mhm.
wife. And
Mhm.
not that there's ever like, hey, hold on, wait, you want to spend
Right.
one on? You sure you need that thing for this?
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
there's definitely the tension, you know, and
Mhm.
you know, periodically, which is good.
Yeah.
That's life. That means we're living, right? I don't want a robot. You don't want a robot.
Yeah.
Um, but the fact that we are deeply invested and we can
Mhm.
get on the same page, and the kids feel that. So when the kids they Google me, Daddy, I Googled you. Oh, I saw your other film, this, you know, and I'm
Awesome.
like, oh wow, yeah, I saw your picture with the guy from this, you know, and you know, they describe me as
Mhm.
that which I was afraid to describe myself. I would meet people, and I'm talking about to very recently, and they say, "What do you do?" Oh, you know, I'm a content producer. No, my daddy's a film director. You know,
Right.
he's a film producer. That's what they say, and I'm like, well, you know, I always qualify it. Well,
Right.
with
Right. Right.
you know, because I'm humble, because I'm not like caking off of it yet,
Of
right?
course.
You know,
Right.
so I'm like, then it must not be real enough for me to. No, they don't see that. They're like, Daddy, have you finished your movie? What about this
Oh.
scene? Have you
Wow.
finished this scene? Yeah. So that
Mhm.
support is critical.
Yeah.
Critical.
Yeah. Yeah. And so many people, they complain about what they don't have. Um, do you have some words for those people? I mean, you sound, the encouragement is overwhelming. I mean, we're coping with a pandemic,
Yeah.
and for those that are still quarantining and staying 6 feet away,
Hmm.
from their loved ones, it's hard,
Yeah.
for you to keep that motivation. How do you leverage that? How do you keep that going? It's hard.
Yeah. You know, I think COVID has worked somewhat conversely for me.
Yeah.
Um, we battled COVID and went through it, you know, as a family. That was, you know, glory to God that it wasn't terrible, you know.
Yes.
Um, but
Yeah.
also in that time, we were became more cognizant of the things that we do have. Yes,
Hmm.
we're on top of each other,
Yeah.
but we're blessed with the home. We have some space,
That's right.
right?
Hmm.
Um, we have, you know, we have each other where we know we
Hmm.
have friends who, for example, their children are, you know, don't have siblings, right? So it's tougher for them, right?
Okay.
So like, you know, hey kids, appreciate that, you know, then appreciate your friends who
Yeah.
appreciate you because
Hmm.
you are like, you
Yeah.
know, family to them, right?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
it's really for me been a time to lean into the things that I value most. And even with doing the work at the PTA last year
Hmm.
and the year
Yeah.
before, it was a time to really lean into community because we needed
Yeah.
that. Like
We
there
needed
was
it. Hmm.
there were so many things looking to tear down, and people were like, I think emotionally and mentally stripped, and they were passing that off into the community in
Yeah.
ways that weren't healthy.
Yeah.
So it was a time. It's been a time to lean into everything,
Mhm.
to every part of me that's of value, and not because you know, hey, it's like, oh, you know, trying to come in and save. It's just it just felt like the natural thing to do, to be me and to
Right.
grow into in that time.
And that's
And I
that's
think
awesome, man.
that's
You've
where we
been
are now.
receiving. How is the community reacting to this? I mean, take us on a journey of what you see through your eyes in the world. I mean, you are a film writer
Mhm.
and director,
Mhm.
so you're very visual. You're
I
very
am.
visual, and what what does it look like for you? What are you seeing through the eyes of? I mean, I don't watch much television, but what are you seeing right now? What, as far as in the world?
I see a couple of things. Uh, I see that there is an energy that actually is working conversely
Hmm.
uh, to, 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 to the goal of creating harmony, right?
Okay.
And I think that um, I'm seeing a need for us to be careful about creating microcosms of harmony that
Mm.
the
Yeah.
macrocosmic goal of harmony.
Yes.
And so that's something that is like kind of like really there for me, because I think even if you look at like what we do, like television now, it's like everything is funneled down into so many
Hmm.
disparate like little channels and
Yeah.
bubbles,
Yes.
networks, socials, that it's easy for us to like retreat into
Right.
things that are totally
Hmm.
centered around
Hmm.
what we want, right? But
Okay.
sometimes what we want isn't what we need, right? Sometimes what we
Hey,
want to
that's
be like
right.
centered around people who think just
Hmm.
like us is what we need. Maybe you don't need to be around
Hmm.
people. Maybe you need to be around people who challenge you. You know what I mean? And
Right.
challenge your ideals. And
Okay.
so yeah, that's what I see right now. And
Huh. Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
And the
That.
point about that also is there's a thread of humanity that ties all of us, right?
Wow.
And if we're not focusing on that thread of humanity that ties all of us, it's just like, well, we want to tie this little thread of us, and we're good with that. No,
Hmm.
then we're missing the thread that ties all of us. And I feel like we
Right.
need to think on that as a society to, to build and continue to thrive. Otherwise, we'll be like Rome. We'll be torn apart. You know?
Wow. That's that is a fact. That is a fact. And you've been receiving a lot of great, great energy from the community. So your journey is different from a lot of people's journeys. You have the way your thinking pattern is different. I already know that. You're already like 3 steps ahead of everyone. So are you happy? Are you happy right now with everything
I,
that's going
I am genuinely happy.
on?
Um, and I don't want to say content, not content,
Hmm.
um, but I'm content with where I am in
Where
the
you
journey,
want?
sense, right?
Mhm.
So,
Wow.
but yeah, I'm happy.
Hmm.
Times I'm like, I don't want to get too happy. I don't want to jinx nothing, right? Because it's like we're in
Wow.
a cynical world where there's so much that's going on. Like sometimes, like who am I to
Hmm.
be able to even get this far on living my
Hmm.
dreams? Like I've had so many friends in film school
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
folks who've been trying, and folks who I've been seeing at film festivals since I've been going since like 2001 to the October
Wow.
Film Festival, and a lot of folks have, you know, they trailed
Hmm.
off, and it's like it's
Right.
become too much, too expensive, and I'm still here, and I'm like, Lord, all right, pinch myself, but
You're here, you're
yeah,
further than a lot of people that, because you're super humble, by the way. You've done so many things, and I can't wait until people see your film. I am so excited, for
mm,
you, and you're a force to be reckoned with, so a lot of the times when people see another person that is doing what they thought they couldn't do
mhm,
or think they can't do,
right,
it's like you motivate them, so a lot of the times we're saying, okay, I want to introduce me to this guy, but
mhm,
then they're introduced to you and then they don't do anything about their vision, so what would it take? If a pandemic can't get you to get up
yeah,
and do something that you enjoy and
yeah,
that you really see yourself doing the size of 9 to 5, what will? What will?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, this was definitely the pandemic afforded me time. In fact, oddly enough, I do think things happen for a reason, right? I think, or not that the pandemic happened for a reason per se, but I think as we talk about fate, I think the
Mhm.
timing of things and the way things line up sometimes for individuals happens for a reason.
Mhm.
And literally, the job that I was on,
Mhm.
um, it was a client that I have, and I was doing work for them. It's a client that I love
Mhm.
going into the office, and I would usually be brought on as an editor. Uh, and it was a good job, paid a lot of, this gig paid a lot of good amount of money for the time. And it was supposed to be simple. This is like right before the pandemic.
Right.
And the job was ended up being having all sorts of technical issues and like things that should not, like abnormalities that I can't to this day explain. A very simple edit. And around this time, that's when they were starting to shut down the office. And I just remember being so disappointed in myself at the way I performed in that job, but also being disappointed that I was still in that job where I felt like
Wow.
I was
Yeah.
looking for validation
Yeah.
for something that ultimately isn't what I wanted to do. I allowed that much stress
Okay.
in my life for something that isn't really what, like, and I would speak to those friends there, they're folks that they're good people. And they'd be like, I direct, I produce.
Right.
Oh, yeah. But they keep bringing me back to editing. And I remember thinking, I don't want to feel that feeling again. And the last time I said that, I left corporate America in 9 to 5ism, period. So I was happy that that feeling was there. I didn't know what it meant, but I was like, I don't want to feel that feeling again of being like subservient and feeling, oh my goodness, and because that's not where I felt called to be. So COVID moved me out of that, and then after that, I finished Catharsis, and then hopefully we're at a different place.
Wow. Now that is a journey.
Yeah,
You just took us somewhere, and you brought us here.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, where can we find you on social media? Where can my readers find you on social media?
IG at Law Divine Right, DIVINEWRITE, Law Divine Right, and on Facebook at Divine Right Pictures.
I'm going to show. Is it okay if I show a little snippet of your film after this interview?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Law. Thank you. I'm sorry. I gotta show them something. Just something.
I appreciate it. No, I appreciate it.
Okay. Well, you know what? I want to thank you for stopping by today and hanging out with Now PR Magazine. Ladies and gentlemen, Law Watford is here.
Thank you,
He is
guys.
here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
The DA feeling his hands are tied and not being able to charge the officers involved in a pair of deadly police shootings.
The district attorney announced today that his office would not be prosecuting the police officers,
saying the shooting was justified.
County DA says police officers were justified
It's justified.
justified in shooting and killing a 15-year-old.
Listen! It's just a kid! It's just a kid!